Good evening, I'm Tim McGonigal. We're glad to have you with us tonight. We begin with more civil unrest across the nation. An overnight curfew is now in effect in Minneapolis, aimed at putting an end to the violent protests that have been taking place since the death of an African-American man in police custody on Monday. CBS's Michael George is there.
The Minnesota National Guard is now on patrol in Minneapolis alongside scores of law enforcement officers. Days of protests have been giving way to nights of mayhem in the Twin Cities, all stemming from the death of George Floyd in police custody on Monday. The city has dismissed 4 officers who were involved in the incident. One is now facing criminal charges.
Former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin has been charged by the Hennepin County Attorney's Office with murder and with manslaughter.
Cell phone video shows Chauvin kneeling on Floyd's neck until he lost consciousness.
The investigation is ongoing. We felt it appropriate to focus on the most dangerous perpetrator.
An attorney for Floyd's family said they'd been hoping for a more serious charge than third-degree murder.
They were very clear in their position that it should be first-degree murder charges and the other officers should be arrested too.
It remains to be seen if the announcement of the officer's arrest, along with the just-imposed curfews, will calm the unrest here in Minneapolis. The anger that erupted here has already spread across the country. Large-scale and sometimes violent demonstrations have taken place in several cities, including Denver, Louisville, Columbus, Ohio, Atlanta, and in Houston.
We're determined that justice be served.
Protesters have also gathered at the White House. On Friday, President Trump said he's spoken with George's family. The president also urged calm going forward. Michael George, CBS News, Minneapolis.
And there were also protests taking place closer to home, including in Missoula today. MTN's Connor McCauley was at the courthouse where dozens gathered to demonstrate.
Here in Missoula, protesters took to the county courthouse for a round of very emotional speakers and also the opportunity to break into song in the hopes of raising awareness for this problem that continues to ravage the country.
We are here in solidarity and standing with the students of the Black Student Union at the University of Montana, showing our support for them, for our Black community here in Missoula, and also showing that we are standing in solidarity for the people of Minnesota.
Montana might seem like a world away from this issue, but today's turnout says otherwise.
Because we're in Montana, that's why I initially had the fear of doing this rally, because we're in a predominantly white community, in a predominantly white city, in a predominantly white state. And so there was this fear of starting this. I'm very emotional about this because you can see everyone standing together in Montana, in Missoula.
There is no one answer to this problem. There's no one suggestion that is going to fix what is going on, but listening to each other, no matter the section of society they come from, might be a good start.
I think listening and actually listening, reading the words that other people are saying, hearing them and reaching out to people that don't look like you, or just talking to them, recognizing that we are all human. I think often you think of Black and all of the words that are associated with Black are negative, and so we got to start thinking about, I think the rhetoric needs to change, but I don't know how to change the rhetoric. I'm just one person.
In Missoula, Connor McCauley, MTN News.
Missoula police say one adult male was arrested for disorderly conduct after the scheduled protest ended. Meanwhile, Great Falls will hold a peaceful protest Sunday afternoon at 5 on the Central Avenue West Bridge. Well, new tonight, Montana has reached 500 confirmed coronavirus cases. After weeks of very few COVID-19 cases in Montana, those numbers took a big jump today as Bighorn County saw its number of cases more than double. Health authorities say they expect more to come. Today alone, 14 new positive cases were added in Bighorn County. County health officials tell us there were 5 reported this morning and added another 9 this afternoon. That brings the county total to 26, 18 of which are active. We also know that 18 of those 26 cases in the county have been in people under the age of 30. Well, since March, Helena Food Share has seen hundreds of families who have never used the facility before. MTN's Andy Curtis has more on how MTN is helping Helena Food Share meet the ongoing needs of the community.
Over the past months, Helena Food Share volunteers have been filling to-go boxes with vegetables, pasta, fruit, and other foods to meet the increased needs of the community.
We saw a real increase in need immediately after the start of
the pandemic, and with the stay-at-home orders, their numbers were really high on a day-to-day basis.
Hunger has always been a challenge in our community, and the COVID-19 pandemic has shown just how fragile many Montanans' food situation truly is.
Executive Director Bruce Day says each week, FoodShare continues to see new families request food that had previously never used their services. Due to COVID-19, the food bank has had to significantly change how they distribute food and are unable to accept food donations at this time. That's why MTN and the Scripps Family Impact Fund through the Scripps Howard Foundation are planning on donating $12,000 to the Helena Food Share to help families in need. Day says he hopes people come to the pantry if they need help, adding that no one should ever have to choose between paying their bills and putting food on the table.
If you've maybe never thought about needing assistance from a food bank or a food pantry, but you find yourself needing food support, that's why we're here. And right now, currently with our service, we're just asking people to show an ID and let us know the number of people in their household. And there's no eligibility requirements, never have been. If you need help getting food, we're here and we'll have it for you.
The need is real, and it's happening right now. So please, if you are able, make a donation and help make sure our neighbors have a meal on their table through this crisis.
That was Auntie Curtis reporting. Also, Montana State Fund has announced this week a personal protective equipment grant program designed to assist COVID-19 high-risk and vulnerable frontline businesses and workers. The program has a total of 100 infrared thermometers, 15,000 medical trifold masks, and 15,000 N95 masks for distribution. The grants are available for qualifying policyholders, including firefighters, EMTs, police, healthcare workers, nursing homes, grocery stores, and more. State Fund President and CEO Lawrence Hubbard says their mission has always been to make sure workers are able to leave and return home safely.
We're generally involved in safety education throughout Montana, but also find opportunities like this one, where if we can leverage our connections and resources that we can bring to bear for our customers, we will do so.
Current State Fund policyholders who qualify will receive a letter or email in the coming days explaining the application process. In northeastern Montana, one man is dead following a collision with an Amtrak passenger train this morning. Just before 11 a.m., Montana Highway Patrol responded to the incident in Roosevelt County between Culbertson and Bainville. According to Roosevelt County officials, a man operating a John Deere sprayer tractor at a crossing with no crossing arms was killed in the collision with the westbound train with 10 cars. The train was damaged in the incident and remained upright as it lost contact with the tracks. AMTRAK reports there were no life-threatening injuries among the 64 passengers and 10 crew members. They say one AMTRAK customer and 3 crew members were treated and released by a local hospital. Passengers were taken to Culbertson High School to await transportation to Seattle and Portland. The BNSF-owned track is closed for investigation and repairs. We will keep you updated on air and online as more details become available. Well, as coronavirus wreaks havoc financially across the nation, another victim is a government entity that most Americans rely on in one way or another, the U.S. Postal Service. It's falling deeper into debt, and it's not clear whether Congress or the president will help bail it out. MTN's chief political reporter Mike Dennison spoke with our 2 U.S. senators on what they'd like to see happen.
The Postal Service lost almost $9 billion last year, but the coronavirus outbreak has made that situation even worse, dramatically cutting into its revenue. The coronavirus relief bill passed in March had a $10 billion loan for the Postal Service, but it says more is needed, and President Trump has opposed those requests. Montana's Republican Senator Steve Daines told MTN News that the Postal Service is vital for a rural state like Montana, delivering prescription drugs and other necessities.
This is not just some kind of discretionary item. This is a matter of life and possibly death if we were ever to lose the United States Postal Service. And so I support the efforts that we are making back in Washington, D.C. To make sure we keep the USPS in good shape.
Daines says one way to help the post office is to repeal a 2006 law that required it to fund employee health benefits in advance. He says no other agency has that cost and that he's working on a bill to change that. Democratic Senator John Tester says he too is pushing for a way for the PO to pay down its debts, and he's working on a resolution calling for funding to offset Postal Service revenue losses related to the pandemic. He calls the Postal Service a crucial lifeline for Montanans on everything from drug delivery to absentee ballots, like in our current all-mail ballot primary election. The Postal Service has been in financial crisis mode for some time now, but the unanswered question seems to remain the same. Will Congress and the President do what it takes to fix it? Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Well, this is the last weekend of May. It looks like we are heating up. Our Storm Tracker weather team is here to tell us more. Grant Garland joins us now. Grant, hopefully the air conditioning units are working.
I hope so. I don't have one, so that's a real problem. I'm going to be in my car for a lot of this. But, you know, May wants us to remember her, and boy, are we going to remember her. We're looking at temperatures tomorrow, 87 degrees, 86 in Helena, 79 in White Sulphur Springs, 84 in Choteau, as well as Havre, and 79 degrees in Glasgow. Temperatures right now, though, falling a nice 68 degrees in Helena, 63 in Great Falls, as well as Cutbank, 64 in Havre, 59 in Lewistown, and 60 in Glasgow. So hopefully if you were out to going to a graduation, things were able to cool down a little bit for you. Our high today, though, was 76 in Great Falls, 79 in Helena, 72 in Lewistown, and 73 in Glasgow. And at the site in Great Falls, it recorded a high of 74. Doesn't quite beat the record, though, set back in 1936 when the New York Yankees won the World Series when the temperature was 95 degrees. And we are looking at just a few thunderstorms south of Billings, but for the rest of us, we are looking at quiet conditions. Coming up, though, we're going to talk about what we can expect for this weekend in terms of possible severe weather. But for now, back to you, Tim.
Thanks, Grant. Time is winding down to get your ballot in. What you need to know before Tuesday night's deadline. Next on the 10 o'clock news.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. The 10 o'clock news continues on Montana's News Leader.
Welcome back. With just a few days left in Montana's all-male primary election, election officials are getting ready to start counting the votes. MTN's Jonathan Mbarian talked to two county election administrators on what the public can expect on election night.
At Helena's City County building Friday, election workers were already taking mail ballots out of their envelopes, getting them ready to be counted next week.
We have 10 election judges who are working Thursday, Friday, Monday, and Tuesday, and they'll be spending most of their time just removing the ballots from the envelopes. If you think about it, we've got 21,000 envelopes to open and take the paper out, so it is time consuming.
This is the first statewide election since the Montana legislature passed a bill last year allowing larger counties in the state to start opening envelopes 3 business days before Election Day and start running ballots through the counting machines 1 day before. As of Thursday night, more than 285,000 ballots had already been returned. That's almost half of the mail ballots sent out and already enough for a turnout of more than 40%. Yellowstone County Elections Administrator Brett Rutherford says in his county, well over 90% of voters already got their ballots by mail, so the all-mail election is not a major change for them. That's not the case in all Montana counties.
Especially for small rural counties where, say, maybe they don't have incorporated towns, so they don't run their city elections by all-mail ballot, or maybe they don't actually conduct the school elections for the school districts in their county. So this might be a first for some counties, actually.
Counties will keep accepting ballots if they receive them by 8 p.m. on Tuesday, but election administrators believe the majority of the votes will be ready to release once that deadline is passed.
Since this election is all by mail, we should have most votes counted in the first release of results at 8 p.m.
At least in Yellowstone County, we're going to have some really good numbers come 8 o'clock.
In Helena, Jonathan Mbarian, MTN News.
And KRTV and KXLH are your election night headquarters on Tuesday night. We'll have coverage throughout the evening on air and online at KRTV and KXLH.com. And MTN's Jay Cohn will lead our panel of experts, including Chief Political Reporter Mike Dennison, in a special Facebook Live roundtable. That starts at 8:30 on the KRTV Facebook page, as well as the same time on our partner KTVH's Facebook page. You can then join us on CW Montana for the MTN 9 o'clock news, and of course, you can cap off your night with the 10 o'clock news, where we'll have all the latest returns and reaction.
Well, I'll be there, Tim.
All right.
I'll be there. We're looking at possible severe weather tomorrow. Don't go away. I'll break everything down for you right after this break.
Thanks.
Welcome back, everybody. I hope that you have had a great work week. We are here for the weekend, and it just starts for me anyways in about 15 minutes. Temperatures in Great Falls, 66 degrees. Looks beautiful outside. Out towards Helena, just a tad warmer at 68. Lewistown, 61, and Fort Benton, 66 degrees. Now, we have been looking at temperatures elsewhere a little bit cooler than us. Out towards Malta, 61, and in Glasgow, 60 degrees. Out towards Wolf Point, 54, but as you head on out towards, let's say, Cut Bank, 62 degrees. Now for Helena, our high today was 77 degrees. The record set back in 1986 when it was 91 degrees. Also the year that Tom Cruise took on Top Gun. Great movie, and they're supposedly coming out with the second one. I'm ready for that. As we take a look at what's happening the next 3 months, because believe it or not, June 1st starts at least the meteorological summer, which is on Monday. So far, they have predicted that for the next couple of months, we're going to have a better chance of staying drier than being wetter. 33% chance for really most of Montana. As you head out west, a 40% chance of staying drier. So it's in the works, and in terms of what we can be expecting with our warmer or cooler temperatures, if you like the heat, it's going to be great for you. 33% chance of us staying warmer than average. 40% chance for a lot of us here in our viewing area with staying warmer. So yeah, the heat is on. Over the last 3 hours, we've been looking at mostly clear to partly cloudy skies. But as you head on down towards Bozeman as well as Billings, that's where you're seeing a few thunderstorms pop up. As we head throughout the next several hours, we will see mostly clear skies, maybe a few clouds out along I-15, but towards Helena, Butte, looking at clear skies. As we head throughout the day tomorrow, things are going to change by around 1:30 in the afternoon because our temperatures are going to be so hot. And another factor we're going to see in a second, we're going to see clouds build into the area along with a few showers and possibly a thunderstorm or two that could be severe. Widening this out, we're going to be looking at a low pressure with a cold front making its way into the area by 1 in the morning, kicking up some showers and thunderstorms with it, but it will quickly be in our area by 6 a.m. and as quickly as it gets here, it's going to leave. And as it does so, we're going to actually see a gradual clearing behind it for our Sunday, but it's also going to be very, very windy. As far as what we're looking at, we could be looking at 20 to 30 mile per hour winds by midnight tonight, 30 to 40 in Jordan. As we head throughout the morning, we're going to see still packing a punch, 30 to 40 mile per hour winds in Jordan. Not so much bad here, but as we go throughout the day tomorrow, by 3 p.m., 10 to 20 in Great Falls as well as Helena, picking up to 30 and 40 in Lewistown as well as Havre by 10 p.m. So it's going to be a breezy day. And again, we are looking at the possibility for some severe weather, damaging wind gusts as well as lightning and quarter-sized hail for us in Cut Bank down to Helena out towards Lewistown. Any severe thunderstorm that is able to make it up in the atmosphere will be able to produce this. Now, as we head throughout the next several days, our temperatures will actually gradually get down to the lower 80s. If only I would have been born in the 80s. I think that would have been cool. We are looking at temperatures tomorrow, 87 for our high in Great Falls, 81 on Sunday, 82 on Monday. A few possible storms, though, kicking up Monday through Friday for the Electric City. And for the capital, really the same story. We're going to be looking at isolated severe thunderstorms possible tomorrow, some severe. By Monday, though, we're going to see possible pop-up thunderstorms each and every day. Tim?
Ahead, high school graduates take the stage. Social distancing style, CMR celebrates its seniors.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. The 10 o'clock news continues on Montana's news leader.
Well, it wasn't how they originally planned it, but CM Russell High School seniors capped off their high school careers tonight. The class of 2020 took the celebration outside to Montana Expo Park To practice safe social distancing, the class heard from several speakers, including Principal Carrie Parsons and Superintendent Tom Moore. Each graduate was allowed 2 visitors in the Expo Park grandstands, which was the event was live streamed on local media. Paris Gibson Education Center will hold their graduation ceremony tomorrow morning at 10:30, while Great Falls High will hold their commencement exercises tomorrow afternoon at 2. Both ceremonies will also be live streamed at krtv.com/live. Meanwhile, Great Falls graduates are being celebrated downtown. The Great Falls Business Improvement District worked with Embark Credit Union and Speaking Socially on a unique project. Banners have been hung proudly on Central Avenue. They're meant to recognize the graduating class of 2020. The banners honor the graduating seniors at 5 high schools, and each banner has 22 different senior pictures on both the front and back.
This year's class has had a lot of real blows. And so anything that we can do to help support them and say that we recognize them, and whatever it is that we can do to offer that, be as small as a banner with their photo on it. That's not been done in recent history in Great Falls.
And those banners will be up until September. We'll be back with a final look at weather.
This one throughout the day tomorrow. Remember, we do have a low chance of just an isolated severe thunderstorm or 2 happening in the late afternoon, evening hours. And then Sunday, mostly sunny skies. It will be a breezy day, and this is the same kind of pattern we're looking at for Helena. Temperatures, though, tomorrow, 80s. High 80s.
All right. Well, one of the unfortunate things about the COVID-19 pandemic, it forced the Special Olympics Montana to cancel its state summer games, but that didn't stop the athletes from competing. We're going to leave you tonight with some video Tom Wiley put together of some of the athletes putting their skills on display in the virtual 2020 state games. Have a great night.
Go down a little further, Rocky. There you go.
Five seconds, point 19.